Good morning, everyone. My name is Davin Juma, and I would like to welcome you to this Grade 10 Community Service Learning CSL lesson. I am the founder of Tetra Cyber Hub Grade 10 Project Support Center, where we are committed to supporting learning and learners by providing educational resources, project guidance, and digital learning solutions. In today's lesson, we will explore what community service learning is, why it is an important part of competence-based education curriculum in Kenya, and how you can successfully plan and implement your own CSL project. I encourage you to follow the lesson from the beginning to the end. Take note and think about how you can use your knowledge and skills to make a positive impact in your school and community. Let's get started. These are the key points of studies. 1. Introduction to community service learning. Why every grade 10 learners study CSL. How CSL connects learning with real life. What learners will achieve. What is community service learning? Community service learning, commonly known as CSL, is an educational approach where learners gain knowledge and skills by serving their community. Instead of learning only in the classroom, learners identify a real problem in their community, work together to find a practical solution, and then reflect on what they have learned from the experience. It is important to understand what community service learning is, not just voluntary. It combines learning, community service, reflection, and competency development. Through this process, learners develop important skills such as critical thinking, teamwork, communication, creativity, and problem solving, while making a positive impact in their community. Why is community service learning important? Community service learning is important because it helps learners develop valuable life skills while making a positive difference in their community. Through CSL, learners build confidence by taking part in real activities and seeing the impact of their effort. They develop leadership skills by working in teams, organizing tasks, and guiding others towards a common goal. CSL also improves communication as learners share ideas, listen to one another, and work together to solve a community problem. This experience prepares learners for future careers by developing skills that empowers values such as teamwork, responsibility, creativity, and problem solving. Most importantly, community service learning helps learners become responsible citizens who care about their communities and are willing to contribute to a positive change. For example, a group of learners might organize a community cleanup, plant trees, or teach young children about environmental conservation. Through this activity, they learn while serving others. Community service learning is closely connected to competence-based education, also known as CBE. In competence-based education, the focus is not only on what learners know, but also on what they are able to do with the knowledge and skills they have gained. Through community service learning, learners develop important competencies that prepare them for school, work, and everyday life. There are 7 core competencies. Communication, which helps learners express their idea clearly and confidently. Collaboration, where they work effectively with others to achieve a common goal. Critical thinking and problem solving, which enable them to analyze situations and find practical solutions. Learners also develop creativities and imaginations by generating new ideas and innovations, ways to solve challenges. Citizenship encourages them to become responsible members of their community. Digital literacy helps them to use technology safely, effectively to research, communicate, and present information. Finally, self-efficacy builds confidence, resilience, and belief that they can successfully achieve their goals. Community service learning gives learners the opportunity to practice these competencies through real-life experiences, making learning meaningful, practical, and enjoyable. Every community has a challenge or challenges that affects their lives of the people who live there. As learners, it is important to observe your surroundings and think about the problems you see every day. Some common community problems include plastic waste that pollutes the environment, poor sanitation that can lead to spread of diseases, and water shortages that makes it difficult for families to access clean water. Other challenges include drug abuse, cyberbullying, unsafe road, school absenteeism, tree distractions, and food wastes. These issues affect individuals, families, schools, and the community as a whole. Community service learning begins by identifying a real problem that needs attention. There is no problem that is too small if it affects people's life. Take a moment to think about your own community. What challenges have you noticed? Which problem would you like to help solve? Discuss your idea with your classmates and brainstorm on a practical solution. Remember, every good community project starts with a simple idea and a willingness to make a positive difference. Every successful community service learning project follows a clear and organized process. This process is known as the CSL journey. The first step is to identify a problem. Learners observe their community and choose a real issue that needs attention. Next, they conduct a needs assessment by gathering information to understand the problem, its causes, and how it affects their community. The third step is to plan the project. Learners sets a clear objectives, assigns responsibilities, gathers resources, and creates a timeline for the activities. After planning, they implement the projects by carrying out the activities they have planned to address an identified problem. Once the project is complete, they evaluate the outcomes to determine what worked well, what challenges they faced, and whether they achieved the objective. When they reflect on their learning, thinking about the knowledge, skills, and values they developed throughout the project. Finally, they share their results with their classmates, teachers, parents, and wider community, celebrating the achievement, encouraging others to make a positive change. Remember, community service learning is a journey. Every step is important because it helps learners grow while creating meaningful change in their community. Community service learning is the most successful when learners work together as a team. Every team member has an important role to play, and everyone should be treated with respect. Good teamwork begins with respecting others, even when they have different opinions. Team members should also share responsibilities fairly so that everyone contributes to the success of the project. It is equally important to listen to different ideas. Sometimes the best solution comes from hearing another person's perspective. If disagreement arises, learners should resolve conflicts peacefully through discussion and understanding and cooperating. Team members should also support one another by encouraging each other offering help when needed, and celebrating each person's contribution. Working together builds trust, confidence, and strong relationship. For example, during community cleanup project, one group may collect litters, another may be separated in recycling materials, while others record the activity and create awareness posters. Although each learner has different responsibilities, they all work together towards a common goal. Great teamwork is not about one person doing everything. It's about everyone working together, respecting one another, and combining their strength to make a positive difference. Technology plays an important role in making community service learning more effective, organized, and impactful. It helps learners gather information, work effectively, and share their achievement with others. Learners can use the internet to research information about the community problem they want to solve. They can also collect data through surveys, interviews, or online forms to get better understanding their needs of the community. During the project, learners can use smartphones or cameras to take photos and record their activities as evidence of their work. They can create presentations to explain their findings and share what they have learned with the teachers and the classmates. Technology also allows learners to produce videos that showcases their projects from the beginning to end. They can share awareness campaigns through social media, school websites, and digital posters to educate more people about these important community issues. Finally, learners can document evidence by organizing photos, videos, reports, and reflections in digital folders or portfolios. This helps to demonstrate the impact of the projects and the skills they have developed. When used responsibly, technology becomes powerful tools that helps learners solve problems, communicate effectively, and create positive change in their community. One of the most important parts of the community service learning is keeping clear and accurate evidence of the project. Documentation shows that what the learner did, how they worked together, and the impact their project had on the community. Learners should take photos during different stages of the project to show their activities and project. They should also keep attendance records to show who participated in each activity. Interviews with community members, teachers, or project beneficiaries can provide valuable information and feedback about the project's impact. Activity logs should be maintained to the records to what was done, when it was done, who was involved. Learners should also write reflection journals where they describe what they learned, the challenges they faced, and how they overcame them. If the project involves spending money, a simple budget should be kept to show how resources were used responsibly. Finally, community feedback is important because it helps learners understand where the project made a positive difference and how it could be improved in future. Good documentation provides evidence of learning, support project assessments, and demonstrates the positive impact of the community service learning. It also helps a learner tell the story of their project with confidence and accuracy. Reflection is an essential part of community service learning. It gives learners the opportunity to think carefully about their experiences and understanding what they have learned throughout the project. After completing a project, learners should ask themselves a few important questions. What did I learn? What went well during the project? What challenges did we face? And how did we solve them? These questions help learners recognize both the achievement and where they failed. Learners should also reflect on how the community benefited from their project. Should they resolve problems? Remember, in community service learning, learners does not end when the project is finished. Reflection is what connects the experience to meaningful learning and personal growth. A successful community service learning project is one that creates a meaningful and lasting impact on the community while helping learners develop important skills and competencies. First, a good project should solve a real community need. It should focus on genuine challenges that affect people where learners can make a positive contribution. The project must also be safe and ethical. Learners should respect their rights, privacy, and dignity of everyone involved while following school guidelines and ensuring that all activities are carried out responsibly. A successful project is well planned. This means setting clear objectives, assigning responsibilities, preparing the necessary resources, and following a realistic timeline. It should also be inclusive, giving every learner the opportunity to participate and contribute accordingly to their abilities. In addition, a good project should be sustainable, meaning it should be benefits can continue and even after the project has ended. Most importantly, the project should be achievable. Learners should choose goals that are realistic and be completed using available time and resources and support. Finally, every community service learning project should demonstrate the competencies of competence-based education, including communication, critical thinking, creativity, citizenship, digital literacy, and self-efficacy. When these qualities comes together, learners not only helps their community but also grow into confident, responsible, and capable citizens. Community service learning projects can take many different forms depending on the needs of the community. The most successful projects are those that address real challenges while giving the learners an opportunity to apply their knowledge and skills. For example, learners can organize a school recycling program to reduce waste and promote environmental conservation. They may also participate in tree planting campaign to improve the environment and help combat climate change. Another valuable project is providing digital literacy training for older adults. Have them learn basic computer and smart skills. Learners can also support younger pupils through reading mentorship program, helping them improve their reading and communication skills. For example, include a water conservation campaign to encourage the other responsible use of water. A community cleanup to create a healthier environment. A kitchen garden project to promote food security and healthy eating. And a plastic recycling initiative that turns waste into useful products while protecting the environment. This example shows that every learner has the ability to make a positive difference by working together, identifying community needs, and applying their skills learned in school, and learners can create a project that benefits both themselves and the other people around them. Here are some of the common mistakes to avoid. Every community service learning project is an opportunity to learn and make positive difference. However, there are common mistakes that learners should avoid to ensure their project is successful. One common mistake is choosing an unrealistic project. Learners should select a project that matches the time, resources, and other support available to them. Another mistake is poor teamwork. When team members do not communicate, cooperate, or share responsibility, it becomes difficult to achieve the project's goal. Another is weak planning. Can also lead to problems. A good project requires clear objective, a realistic timeline, and a well-organized activity before the implementation begins. Learners should also avoid inadequate documentation. Without photos, attendance records, activity logs, and reflection, it becomes difficult to demonstrate what was achieved and the impact of the project. Ignoring safety is another serious mistake. Every activity should be carried out safely, responsibly, and with respect for the well-being of everyone involved. What next? Now that you have understood what community service learning is and how it works, it is time to begin your own community service learning journey. The first step is to form project groups. Work with your classmates to create teams where everyone has the opportunity to participate and to contribute their skills. Next, identify a community challenge. Look around your school or local community and think about a real problem that affects people's daily lives and can be addressed through teamwork. Identify the challenge, conduct a need assessment, gather information by observing, asking questions, interviewing community members, or carrying out simple surveys. This helps you understand the problem before dedicating on the solution. Once you have understood the community needs, develop a project proposal. Your proposal should clearly explain the problem, your objective, the planned activity, the resources you will need, the timeline, and the expected outcome. Finally, after your proposal has been reviewed and approved, you will begin your community service learning project. Work together, stay committed, document your progress, and remember to reflect on what you learn throughout the journey. Every successful project begins with a simple step. Your ideas, teamwork, and commitment can create meaningful change in your school and your community.